David McCune here. 8 years ago, I wrote a book, Death, Divorce, Alzheimer's. Marriages end one of three ways. They end in death, winner gets all. They end in divorce, a 50-50 split. Or, like my mother and father, my mother had Alzheimer's, and pretty much their marriage ended when she had Alzheimer's, and it became worse and worse. Now, one of the things that I learned in all this was the Alzheimer's patient forgets their name. The first thing you learned was your name. Imagine spending the day walking around wondering what your name is. So with my mother, her name's Betty, there was no need to call her mom anymore because she didn't know what a mom was. I mean, she was a home economics major, and she would go to the refrigerator and pull out an egg and sit there and look at it and say to my father, "Gene, what do I do with this?" So you can see how easily it would be for them to forget their name. So I would call my mom Betty when I saw her, and immediately her eyes would just light up. She'd realize that was her name. That's what she'd been searching for. And the other Alzheimer's patients, there were 24 of them in her wing, I quickly learned to call out their name. And when I called their name out, they would just light up. I'd say, "Donna V, how are you doing today, girl? You are looking mighty fine." And Donna V's face would just light up like a light bulb. She would be so excited, it would just take her away. Clementine was there too. I'd say, "Clementine, my, you are looking good like Donna V. You are looking so good today, Clementine." And again, she would just get so excited about all this. So as soon as I would come off the elevator, open up the door, I would just light up everybody, remember their name, go around and talk to them. Because what was it like in their minds before I got there? Snow, snow everywhere, not a worry, not a care. They would all be sitting around in a circle, yet everything was just blank. Everything was just white. Everything was just silent. It's like snow everywhere. No color, no intensity, no hearing, no nothing. Maybe they're just sitting around wondering what their name is. Don't know about that one. So I would just burst in, and they would be very excited. It'd make a big difference. One of the strangest things, though, was my mom. When she went up there, Mom and Dad had been married for 60 plus years, very faithful to the other. I was basically raised in the Leave It to Beaver, Donna Reed family. I mean, everything was just right. Then I reached adulthood and things got a little crazy, like most of us. And so my mom was up there one day, and I looked over, and there she is, kissing some guy on the couch. There's my mama kissing some guy on the couch. And I said to Violet, the head nurse that was up there, I said, "Violet, you're going to have to keep George away from my mom. If my dad comes up here and sees this is not going to be a good story." And she looked up at me and she said, "David, it's not Mr. George, it's Miss Betty going after him." So, this is the kind of stuff. So my dad did come in finally to visit and saw all this, and he didn't come back for a month. It was very disturbing to him, which you can understand. So, going and then feeding your mom. Here comes the airplane, open up. I mean, it was been on about 3 strong years. My mom had Alzheimer's for the first slight diagnosis from 10 years of duration till she died of complications to Alzheimer's 10 years later. And so the last 2 or 3 years, that's when it got kind of really strong. And I was one of the main caregivers of her, so I would go feed her every night. And a lot of times at dinner, people would come in and they'd sit down, and they had had breakfast together, they had lunch together, they had dinner together. But some of the new people would just continue to introduce themselves to everybody because they didn't remember from 1 minute to 1 minute to if they had met the person or not. And then some of the men that would come in, they would think they're in their mindset they were at a restaurant, so they were supposed to leave a tip. And it was just a lot going on there. But I learned a lot, and if I look back at it, the last 2 or 3 years, it was a very giving experience, and I received more than I ever gave. But on Sunday, sometimes I would bring a box of Whitman Sampler chocolates, and those people, I'd open that box up, and they would get so excited, and the 24 of them be around, and I would let them decide which one they wanted. And it was amazing how every time they always picked the same one over and over. They always had a favorite, and they always picked it. And so it's if it happens to one of your parents, it's about a 7% chance. They play up to be about a 50-50 chance. But there's about a 7% chance that your parent, or you for that matter, will develop Alzheimer's and dementia. And just briefly here to talk about what happens is, let's say your brain is a vast body of water, lakes, rivers, streams, creeks, oceans, just flowing, and synapses moving, and connections and everything. And there it is. You can see color, you can hear, you can breathe, everything's just fine. And then plaque develops. So the plaque is like if you had dams with beavers, and these little beavers are running all over the place, and they're blocking up the streams and creeks, and nothing gets through. And that's how it is with an Alzheimer's dementia patient. They have to search, they have to find another way for it to get through, and then finally it gets more and more cloudy. So, the biggest thing, like I said in the beginning of all this, say their name. Call your mother by her first name. That's the one thing to remember in all this. Or when you see another patient, your aunt, a friend, if they're older than you, younger than you, use their first name. Call them by their first name. This will put a smile on their face. And remember, the definition of success is the ability to put a smile on somebody's face. Have a great day.